everyone. I hope you guys are all well. So I'm just gonna give Facebook the chance to catch up, just because with these lives, if you jump straight in, often you end up talking over yourself. So just gonna give it just a couple of seconds just to load, and just to make sure everyone who's signing in, someone's give me a thumbs up. Make sure that I'm nice and clear, just because I'm a little bit further away from the camera, obviously, and want to make sure that everyone can hear me. Hi Nicole, yeah, perfect, you can hear me. So I can just about see the writing, so I'm not ignoring you guys. If you're posting up comments, I can just about see. Karen, hi Tamara, hope you guys are all well. So kitchen herbal medicine and a little bit of foraging. Hopefully, we're not going to be too long. It's not going to be a massive session tonight. Just probably half hour or something like that. Just to go through two kitchen herbal remedies, and also just a super simple foraging recipe that you can go out and make tomorrow with no equipment, and it's just a really powerful one, particularly at this time of the year. And if you guys, some of you guys I know are in the mentor, in which case you probably would have heard about or seen us talking about these remedies before, because we've spoken about them a lot. And if that's the case, then obviously I apologise for any repetition, but it's kind of good to cover new ground, old ground again, just to re-embed it. So before we get into the remedies, I just want to talk a little bit about kitchen herbal medicine and herbal self-sufficiency, and why it's such a big deal for us, why we're so hell-bent on kind of propagating it and advocating it and re-establishing it. Because if you go back to the First World War, 1910, 1914, and you go back beyond there, the kitchen herbal medicine was the medicine of the people. If you think about how we treated each other, if someone became sick, there wasn't the medical services and the availability of GPs and conventional medicine that there is now back then. And every small village, every hamlet had a healer or a herbalist, and their weaponry, their arsenal was herbal medicines that they had in their apothecary, their kitchens, herbal medicines that they could forage freely from outside. And it was a phenomenal, the village herbalist system was a phenomenally effective system of healthcare that served Britain and Europe and India, Sri Lanka, all of these countries incredibly well. And that's not saying that we don't need conventional medicine, but it's saying with the right knowledge, our kitchens, our gardens, and the hedgerows all around us become this powerful free herbal apothecary that we can use to just keep ourselves really fit and healthy and well. And should we fall prey to the common household ailments, cold, flu, insomnia, arthritis, headaches, menstrual pain, those kinds of things, we have the ability to manage those, to treat those using our own knowledge and what we have available to us in our spice racks, in the garden, in the hedgerow. Because the thing is now that these herbal medicines, these individual herbs that we think of as being culinary, rosemary, thyme, garlic, sage, they're all clinically proven. They're clinically proven, tested herbal medicines. And if we just change the way we perceive them, suddenly we just open up this whole new therapeutic approach. And we're absolutely hell-bent on resurrecting kitchen herbal medicine, because it has the capacity to empower people. It has the capacity to create autonomy. When we fall sick, when something goes wrong with us, we have, the first person that we refer to is ourselves. And if I had a wish, I'd love for every household in Britain, every household in the world, I suppose, to have someone in that household who is knowledgeable on kitchen herbal medicine, because it would change the health profile of the Western world. It would take the pressure off of GPs, it would take the pressure off of NHS services and national health services, and that's one of the things we're hell-bent on really propagating and advocating. And that's why it's herbal medicine, kitchen herbal medicine, foraging, growing herbal medicines, is why it's such a big part of the Ayurvedic Mentor. Because if everyone who's in the mentor begins to tap into this mechanism, then suddenly it becomes a bit of a domino effect. Okay, so it's a big component in the Ayurvedic Mentor. We've got a whole series on kitchen herbal medicine. And we've got 2 of the recipes from that series we're going to talk about. Tonight, and also just very quickly a 3rd remedy on just because we've now moved officially into foraging season. This is the first, aside from tree medicine, aside from willow and pine and oak, this is the first thing we've foraged this year. Okay, so it's a really exciting time if you're into and interested in foraging, because suddenly just every week it gets more and more and more and more. Okay, so the first 2 remedies I want to talk about, which are using kitchen herbal medicines, kitchen herbs that you can get from Tesco's, from a co-op, you can get it from an apothecary, but you don't need fancy herbs. You don't need to get any special herbs, to make these. Just your standard, dried herbs that you get from the supermarket are going to suffice. Okay, so the first remedy I want to talk about, which again, if you're in the Mentor, you'll know all about, which is called 4 Thieves Vinegar. And the second one I want to speak about is something called Greek Herbal Longevity Oil. So 4 Thieves Vinegar. If you know about 4 Thieves Vinegar, you know about it, and you'll be absolutely sold on it. If you don't know about it and you've never used it, it is a game-changing herbal medicine. It's a herbal remedy that we would never be without. It's still probably our first port of call if we get a cold, if we get sinusitis, if we get any kind of respiratory infection. 4 Thieves Vinegar has always been and always will be kind of one of the first things we use. We've always, actually having said that, we've always got some in the cupboard. We've actually run out at the moment, but we're going to make this batch now. So before we make it, just want to talk quickly about how 4 Thieves Vinegar came to be and why it's called 4 Thieves Vinegar. And the reason it's called 4 Thieves Vinegar is during the Black Plague, the plague of Marseille in southern France, where this plague was running riot through all of Spain and southern France, actually most of France, and people were dying. It was pandemic. People were dying left, right, and centre. You couldn't go out your house pretty much. And there was these massive chateaux, these big stately homes where the whole family had been wiped out. Dozens and dozens of these massive estates where all of the servants, all of the aristocracy who lived there had been killed by this plague. And this very famous group of thieves would go into these estates, into these chateaux, and just plunder it, taking the family silver, the jewels, the artwork, the money, everything they could get hold of. And they accumulated what equated to a hay barn filled with this plunder that was worth millions in today's value. And eventually, after about 5 months, they were caught. And they were sentenced to death, with the one exception, which was if they could inform the authorities on how they were able to go into the dozens and dozens and dozens of these households where the plague was obviously there because everyone was dead, without ever catching it. Everyone else was running away from it and they were going headlong into it. How did they not get sick? How did they not catch it after so many weeks? And their answer was the 4 Thieves Vinegar, because one of the thieves, I guess the second in command, his grandmother was a famous healer. Actually, there's books written about her around the Toulouse area, and she had this tonic, this vinegar, which was used to prevent and treat any kind of respiratory infection. And that's what the 4 Thieves Vinegar was. And what the thieves were doing was they were soaking their bandanas in the vinegar and putting it over their mouth and nose to stop the airborne pathogens getting into their respiratory tract. And they were also taking it internally every day at quite high dose. And what's so interesting is that Western evidence now supports that. The research around the components that go into 4 Thieves Vinegar are all clinically proven as natural antibiotics, powerful antivirals, powerful immune stimulants, and powerful respiratory tonics. Okay, so that's kind of how 4 Thieves Vinegar came to be. And once you've made it and once you taste it, you can feel that pungency. Okay, so it's a phenomenal remedy. I think every household should have it. Okay, you can use it as a preventative and as a treatment. So the ingredients: dried rosemary, dried thyme, dried sage, dried mint, and or dried lavender. Okay, so each one of those herbs, like I say, are clinically proven in the capacity of infection prevention. You've also got a phenomenal volume of raw garlic in there, and apple cider vinegar with the mother. So you've got all of the probiotic, immune stimulating, gut supporting properties. Okay, so all you need to do is super simple. Just get a jar with an airtight lid, like a Kilner jar. You want to add two tablespoons of each of those herbs. Okay, so 2 teaspoons. I haven't got any lavender. I've only got mint. Okay, so 2 teaspoons of dried mint. And heavy teaspoons, you want to go kind of on the loaded side. 2 teaspoons of dried rosemary, tablespoons, not teaspoons, tablespoons. 2 tablespoons of dried sage, and 2 tablespoons of dried thyme. If you've got dried lavender, then whack it in. So you've got 2 tablespoons of each. And you haven't got to write this down because tomorrow we'll send out an email with all of the recipe guides, all of the herb profiles, so you'll get all of these instructions in written format. Okay, so you've got 2 tablespoons of each of those 4 herbs, and you add in at least 6 whole cloves of raw garlic. Okay, they go straight in. You know, garlic is probably the most powerful immune stimulating, antiviral, antibacterial herb in the world. That goes in. Then you've got a good tablespoon of loosely bashed whole peppercorns. Okay, so you want to get kind of the whole peppercorns like that. Just give them a gentle bash and then just pop those in. And then you want to be putting in your 4 cups. So I've measured that, so I've taken some out. So that 4 cups of apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. Okay. So pour all that in. Like so, and then what you do, and obviously you can extrapolate it. If you've got a bigger jar or you want to make a bigger batch, then just double it. So if you want to double it, you're going to go 4 tablespoons of each of the herbs, 12 cloves of garlic, and 8 cups of apple cider vinegar. But you'll get all the instructions. Okay, and then what you do want to do is you've got to give it a really good stir. You want to make sure that all of the herbs are completely saturated in the vinegar. You can't have any herbs left above it. To give it a really, really good stir. And what you find that the herbs float to the top and they stay dry. And if they're dry, you're not extracting the medicinal properties. Okay, so give it a really, really, really good stir. And all you need to do is seal it with an airtight lid. And what happens is the garlic sinks to the bottom because the only wet ingredient that is in there is the garlic. And you need to make sure that the garlic is always below the level of the herbs so that it doesn't create any bacterial growth. Okay, so you can see there the herbs are floating on the top. And all you need to do is put that in a dark cupboard every day. Just give it a bit of a shake, okay, like that, just to aggravate it to get more of the medicinal properties out. And then leave that in the dark cupboard, like I say, shake it every day for about a month. 3 weeks really is a minimum. And then once the 3 or 4 weeks have elapsed, strain it through a cheesecloth, a muslin cloth into a dry, sterilised jar. And when you've strained it through the muslin cloth, make sure you give it a really good wring out to extract every last drop of vinegar from the herbs. And then you can take 1 teaspoon a day as a preventative. 1 teaspoon a day to get the immune system firing on all cylinders to keep us strong. And if you get an infection or you get a cold or a flu, take 1 teaspoon every 2 hours until the infection passes, okay? And in that capacity, it's absolutely profound. It's the first thing we turn to if we get a respiratory infection, okay? So the 4 Thieves vinegar is just phenomenally effective. 2 seconds, guys, just bear with me, hang on. We're going to have a howling dog about to jump into the room. So 4 Thieves vinegar, so you make that up. You've probably got every single one of those ingredients in your house right now. If you haven't, you can get them easily tomorrow. It takes about 2 minutes to make. In about 3 or 4 weeks, that'll be ready to go. And if it's ready to go, you've empowered yourself with this phenomenally effective remedy with no special equipment or no special materials. Okay. Spoon option. So that's the 4 Thieves vinegar. The second remedy I want to make and show you is something called Greek Herbal Longevity Oil. And this is something that, olive oil, it's a really good one because olive oil is extra virgin olive oil, that is recognised as being pound for pound the most health promoting, disease preventing food on the planet. It was a big study that came out last year, looked at all the evidence and said that there's probably no single food on the planet that has a bigger effect upon preventing disease than extra virgin olive oil. And the Greek herbal longevity oil is top quality extra virgin olive oil that is blended with the same kind of herbs. And the reason we picked these two is because they're using the same herbs, which means you need to stock less products or less herbs to get double the benefit, okay? So if you look at the human longevity research, if you look at Greece, Spain, southern France, the Italian research, the places in Europe where people are living to get to 90, 95, 100 years of age in great health, great vitality, there's very clear commonalities in what they do. And a high consumption of extra virgin olive oil is one commonality. A high consumption of herbs is another commonality. But combined together, you get this exponential effect because these herbs, marjoram, rosemary, thyme, sage, they possess some of the highest levels of antioxidants of anything on the planet. Antioxidants protect against free radical damage, they're anti-cancer, they support heart health, they prevent neurological degeneration, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, dementia, they're immunostimulating, you know, they're brain tonics, they're anti-aging. And by combining the extra virgin olive oil with the herbs, you know, if you're drizzling that over your salads, over your meat or fish or vegetables, or as marinades, you're having just 1 or 2 tablespoons a day, the gains become exponential and it tastes absolutely amazing because you've got all that beautiful pungency of the oil infused with these beautiful fragrant herbs. And it's just, it goes with everything. We use gallons of this stuff, okay? And again, it's the same herbs. So all you need to do, the key thing with making these longevity oils is you want to blitz the herbs into a very fine powder, okay, so that you don't have to strain it out. Because if you look at things like rosemary, you know, the big leaves, if that's in the oil, you've got to strain it out because it's too big to leave in there. If you drizzle that over your salad, you're going to get mouthfuls of dried rosemary. But if you powder it in a blender, the powder becomes so fine that it mixes into the oil and you don't need to separate it. It becomes a homogenized mix, and we always blend it. So this recipe is for 500 mils, half a litre of oil. But if you've got a litre, obviously double it, but you'll get all the written instructions. All you need to do first off is add a tablespoon of rosemary, a tablespoon of thyme, a heaped tablespoon, a tablespoon of sage, a tablespoon of marjoram or bay leaf or oregano, any of those kinds of herbs, okay? And then you want to just put them in a food processor and give them a really good blitz, just for a couple of minutes. So ideally, you probably blitz it for a little bit longer, but just for the sake of not having to watch me for 5 minutes blending something. But you can see already that just by blitzing that, it's made it into much more of kind of a fine powdery dust. Okay. Once you've done that, it's super simple. Okay, and you definitely. I'm just going to give that a bit more. Hang on. 2 seconds. Where's the lid? That's better. Now what you do is you pour in your 500 mils of extra virgin olive oil. Okay, pour it into the, that's going to take ages, isn't it? Does that come off? Pour that into there. Do you know what? I won't do that because that's going to take me ages. I'll do it while I'm talking. So then all you do then is you just keep on blitzing it. So once that's filled up with all of your oil, just keep on blending it for about, you do need to do it for quite a long time. You want to do it for about 5 minutes, okay? Because you want the herbs to be blended and macerated into the oil to create one fine mix. You don't want it to be kind of big bits of herbs and then the oil. You want it to all be together into one really, really fine blended kind of oil. Okay, so if you imagine that was all the way in, obviously if you then blitz that, you can imagine, you can see already, just with that much, you get this really thick, fragrant herbal oil. Okay, so you just fill that all the way up with the rest of the bottle, put that on full speed blend for about 3, 4, 5 minutes, and then once you've blended it, just pour it into a jar with an airtight lid, and then seal it, and every day give it a shake, and in about 2 weeks that will be ready to use. Okay, and you don't, like I say, because the herbs are mixed into it, you don't need to separate it or strain it, you just use it. Put it onto salads, drizzle it over food, over meat, over fish, over vegetables, marinate with it. You're getting all of these, the benefits you're getting in terms of the herbs, in terms of the oil, is so profound in terms of disease prevention. Okay, so really, really great, a really great remedy. And then last but not least is Cleavers. Okay, so some of you may know all about Cleavers. Some of you may know nothing about it. Cleavers is otherwise called sticky weed because if you throw it, I'm sure when you were kids or if you've got kids, grandkids, whatever, it's a common prank to throw that on people and you're behind them and it kind of sticks to you, okay? Because it's got, if you look at the leaves, it's got these loads of very fine, like fish hook-like barbs on it, which is what makes it stick to clothes and things like that. And it's so, I love this time of the year. We've got Cleavers coming out, we've got dandelion, we've got nettle, we've got chickweed, we've got ground ivy. So, most of these herbs are still quite small. They've only been out for a couple of weeks, but by the time we get to the first week of March, there's going to be an explosion of herbs these are herbs that we use in clinic every week. We use nettle, we use dandelion, we use Cleavers, we use chickweed, we use ground ivy. We use these herbs all of the day, day in, day out. Not the ones that we produce because that's not, we can't use self-produced ones in patients. You have to buy licensed ones, but it doesn't change the fact that these aren't folk medicines. These are clinically proven herbal medicines. Okay, and they're growing in hundreds of acres, abundance all around us, and they're free if we know how to use them. So foraging, herbal self-sufficiency is such a key part of our work and such a key part of the message we're trying to spread. This idea, go out for a walk. Every month, if you go out, as the months progress into March, April, May, pick the herbs that are in season, forage for those herbs, come home and make medicines out of them. If you make 2 new remedies a month, by the time you get to Christmas, you're going to be, you've got kind of 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 powerful, clinically proven, incredibly effective tonics and remedies and tinctures and infusions and ointments and in your home apothecary, and it's a very, very empowering concept. Okay, so chickweed, the reason I wanted to speak about chickweed is that it's so perfect for this time of the year. If you think about the winter, we've been inside more. Most people eat heavier food during winter. We've often gained a little bit of weight. The lymphatic system can be a little bit sluggish. Okay, so round about February, March time, it's a really good idea as we move into spring to really kind of lighten the load, help the body detoxify, get the lymphatic system flowing, help shed excess water, excess fat. And Cleavers is the absolute most effective lymphatic tonic herb and detoxifying tonic herb and weight reducing tonic herb in the world. Not in British herbal medicine or Ayurvedic herbal medicine, in anywhere in the world. It is famous. We use Cleavers in clinic almost every week of the year, okay, in tincture form or whatever it is. And tomorrow we'll send you a full herb profile of Cleavers, so you've got all this information so you can read about it at leisure. But Cleavers cold infused water is such a beautiful thing to make now, okay? Because you can't make hot tea out of Cleavers because it's such a delicate plant. If you pour boiling water over it, it destroys and kills everything in it that is therapeutic. Okay, so you can't make hot teas out of it. You have to make what is called a cold infusion, which works over about 12 hours, and you're using cold water to extract the chemicals from it rather than hot water. So it takes a lot longer. Okay. This is everywhere. Cleavers is everywhere now. And just go out tomorrow, pick a couple of handfuls. It's all you need. Okay. And all you want to do is get about 2 pints, a jug, 2 pints of water, about 2 handfuls of Cleavers, big handfuls. 1, make sure it's well washed. 2, and then give it a really good stir in the water, and add just a couple of a whole lime or a whole lemon or half a lemon, or it depends how strong you like it, into the mix. Give that a really, really, really good stir, and then leave that in the fridge overnight for at least 12 hours. Okay, so all of the chemicals, all of the phytochemicals, all of the medicinal properties that are in Cleavers, as the hours progress, they transfer from the leaf into the water. Okay, so in the morning, after 12 hours, you strain that through a sieve, keep the liquid in the fridge, and just sip it all day. So you're aiming to sip 1 to 2 pints of Cleavers water every second day, for a good 2 weeks. Okay, you can't overdose on it. It's incredibly safe. There's no side effects. But if you look at the research around what that does, if you look at the research around our lymphatic system, our lymphatic flow, the clearing of toxins, the stimulation of immunity, supporting liver health, but also it's clinically proven to facilitate weight loss. There's been 2 really key studies done that have shown that the chemicals in Cleavers help to stimulate fat cells so that they're mobilized, and also they help prevent the storing of fat cells in the body, particularly on the hips, tummy and bum. So they move it and they stop it sticking, they stop fat cells actually kind of adhering and depositing in the body. So we use it all the time during detoxification processes and weight loss processes. Okay, so that, if you think there, in the space of 15 minutes, you've made a clinically proven tonic to prevent and treat colds, flu, respiratory infections. You've got a clinically proved oil that is longevity promoting, anti-aging, anti-cancer, heart supporting, and you've got something you're sipping on every day that strengthens the body, cleanses the body, detoxifies the body, stimulates immunity and lymphatic function. It's taken 15 minutes. You've gone out for a lovely walk because you've gone and got the Cleavers, get nature immersion, forest bathing. You come back and already you've got 3 tonics at home that you didn't have 15 minutes ago that have empowered you. You've got more knowledge, more resources. Imagine if you extrapolate that to 10, 20, 30, 40 different remedies, 5, 10, 15 different herbs that you can forage for. All this stuff, it becomes paradigm changing. It becomes so empowering, where you've got arthritis, you've got turmeric in your cupboard, that's a clinically proven treatment, or that you've been having a bit of you've been eating too much or eating the wrong food, and you can turn to dandelion to support the liver, or you've got a headache and you can use Cleavers, or whatever it is. We become experts in managing our own health in a way that's self-sufficient and autonomous and largely free or very, very cheap. Okay, and that to me is the ultimate model of healthcare: empowerment and autonomy. Okay, so that's 3 super easy, super simple tonics that you can make. Probably you can make all of those tomorrow without probably leaving your village or town. Okay, so I hope that's been helpful. If you've got any questions, do let me know. If you're keen to learn more about herbal medicine, and particularly kitchen herbal medicine, and you really want to take your knowledge of kitchen herbal medicine and foraging and all of this self-care and autonomy to a higher level, be sure to check out the Ayurvedic Mentor. The doors are open until this coming Sunday night, and then they'll close for many months. We're only opening it a few times a year. So if you want to continue the community, continue the learning, continue the empowerment, continue the meal plans, the resources, the series, the training, then be sure to check it out. On the website, it's £19.99 a month. You can cancel at any time. And it's just a powerful platform that's just devoted to self-care. So be sure to check that out and sign up while there's still time, 3 days left. But other than that, have a lovely evening, everyone. Get out foraging, get medicine making, turn your kitchen into a powerful kind of apothecary, and just get into this stuff because it's game changing. Okay, so have a lovely evening. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you all soon.